Joining us, it's a big day today. We watched our first guest grow up on the big screen as Ginny Weasley in the Harry Potter movies. Now she's moved behind the camera and helps make a difference in the fight to protect the environment. Please welcome to AM Northwest actress, director, and activist Bonnie Wright. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
This is your first time in Portland?
It is. Yeah. I've actually wanted to visit Portland for a long time. Lots of restaurants and coffee places that I'd love to, they've started here, so I'm excited to check them out.
Well, cool. And here's the thing, though. It's kind of rainy today, so there's not, but you can still enjoy it.
I'm from London. I'm used to it.
Yeah, that's right, you are. So what was it like to grow up on screen? Is that a bit strange? And when people react to you, do you think they're thinking of you as when you were a child?
Yeah, it's a very bizarre experience. I think whilst it was going on, we were very much just in that moment and enjoying it as it was happening. And I think it was really after we finished and wrapped up the whole series I think all of us really just gained a new perspective on really how huge it was for not only our lives but for so many other people's lives.
And what kind of perspective?
Yeah, I guess just seeing, I ended up falling in love with filmmaking in a sense that I ended up when I went to film, I went to film school when I went to college, and I think without knowing it, I sort of just fell in love with the craft of filmmaking and storytelling, and I was so grateful and lucky that everyone in the crew was, so talented at what they were doing, and the actors that I was surrounded by were also so talented. I was, working with the sort of the top kind of quality people of the British film industry, so it was a kind of film school within itself.
So while you're shooting a scene and you're acting in it, are you also thinking, well, how are they getting that camera shot, and how are they moving this? And
yeah, I was always super curious as a kid. I was never too afraid to sort of ask questions, which I'm so thankful for. What does this button do on this camera, and why is this screen blue and that one's green? And, and so that was the sort of first film school I had.
And then Chris Columbus, the director, did you get to know him and learn his style of directing? Did he give you any pointers along the way?
Yeah, so Chris Columbus obviously directed the first two, and I think he just had, his past is so in, family movie making, and I think he really understands what that is. He set the foundations of making Hogwarts really feel like home, making the Weasley family really a family, and making Harry part of that. And I think I really witnessed, even though I was quite young when I was obviously doing the two that he did, I really witnessed his ability to sort of communicate and talk with people. I think it's all in the language of how you communicate your ideas, especially if you're talking to children.
Right. Yeah. And then you mentioned family. It's got to feel like the cast is a family since you grew up together. So do you see each other? Yeah, I mean, we all live at different, corners of the world now. But it's lovely to, when we can, to sort of connect or support each other in their new projects. Yeah. It's always lovely to see people's new work and how often do you get to see Rupert? Quite often. Even though we live in different, I mean, he's back in London, so that photo there was a screening of a TV show that he recently did. And yeah, I mean, obviously I had the whole the whole cast, but for me, the Weasley family, I just loved those scenes so much. We had such, I was always so pleased and excited when we were shooting those, because they always had such humor and light to them, and they were always just so fun to be part of. Well, clearly you read the scripts. Did you read the books? Yeah. I was getting them the day they came out, like everyone else. Yeah. And do you have a connection with J.K. Rowling? Yeah, I do. She's just such an incredible woman. I'm so inspired by not only obviously her storytelling and writing, but all her work that she does with the organization, her organization she set up called Lumos. And I've done some work with them. I traveled to Haiti with them like 2 years ago, and I've done different things with like their organization, both in America and in the UK. And I just think her commitment is just really inspiring. Yeah. Like, she's very, if she wants to do something, she wants to do it really well and very kind of, methodically. And she also, I think during the process of when we were making the films, very cleverly allowed, she didn't sort of stifle the process for anyone and make it too, like she was giving her opinion all the time, because she was still writing the books. I think she wanted to stay in that headspace and allow the movies to be made and not be too sort of heavy-handed or too controlling. And I think that gave us the freedom to like step into the character
which was nice, and just give it our own interpretation.
Well, okay, and then let me ask you about growing up. Your parents obviously supported your career and whatever you do, right?
Yeah.
You're pretty close to your mom and dad.
Yeah, very close to my parents, yeah.
And do you get together with them very often?
I do. They're actually visiting me. They arrive in LA in like 2 weeks' time, and we're going to go on a sort of road trip up through Northern California for my mum's birthday.
Oh, fun!
Yeah.
Where's this picture? What do you see right here?
That was Christmas just recently. That's our house on the beach on the south coast of England.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
My dad decided to erect a Christmas tree on the decking of our house. It's pretty cool. You can see the sea horizon behind, and then the beach, and then the tree.
What is it like when you're at ComicCon and you have all these fans? For instance, in our audience, we've got audience members dressed up as cast members. What is it like at ComicCon for you?
It's always so exciting and so fun. I think Harry Potter obviously brought such a mixed, sort of eclectic mix of fans. I think the whole family can be into Harry Potter, which is always lovely. The thing that I love to hear is parents say that the films got their children to read. I think a lot of kids watched the movies and then really wanted to kind of get into the world even more. And then, you know, not many children will be given a 500-page novel and be like, sure, I can't wait to dive into it. But kids do, and I think that's a really cool and rewarding thing to see.
Now, tell me about your activism.
Yeah, most recently I've been working with Greenpeace. I went on a ship of theirs at the end of last year on the Atlantic Coast ship tour that they were doing that was primarily based around raising awareness around climate change and plastics, single-use plastics that are polluting our oceans. And during that time, we did some trawling for microplastics, which is basically kind of fishing for plastics. It's like this net, and then all the data that's taken from that kind of catch is then put into this global piece of data that's sort of happening right now. But yeah, I guess their main focus as an organization this year is ocean plastic. So just really educating people around sort of how much we interact with single-use plastics and how much, unfortunately, you know, garbage truckload enters the oceans every minute. Just as
it's horrific to see the pictures of what's out there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yes. Yeah. And I know you love animals.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you hoping to get a dog someday?
I am. I'm that friend that's always looking after my friends' dogs when they're away because they know I want one. So yeah, I would love to. I think this year maybe. It's the year of the dog, so.
Oh yeah. So maybe because you mentioned this is a friend zone.
That was on a road trip. We went to Idaho to witness the eclipse. We drove up there to sort of be in the totality zone, and that photos from then.
Oh, very fun. And are you directing anything right now?
Yeah, I'm actually in the writing process of my first feature film. So
very cool. Yeah. What's it about?
It is, I guess, I mean, it's actually heavily influenced by sort of the environmental work I've been doing. Essentially, that's the kind of message, is that key kind of man's sort of entitlement and sort of lack of foresight into sort of, you know, what we're doing to the environment and where that could head. Kind of using, you know, dramatizing it and using the kind of artistic license that you can have with storytelling in film. But there's a sort of, I guess there's a little bit of I'm kind of drawing a parallel to sort of mythology and folklore, and that's been a really interesting sort of addition to it. I'm sort of interested in, I mean, my love for film is often in sort of science fiction or dystopian or sort of imagined worlds that sort of put you in a scenario that's so intense that make the audience sort of think, like, if I were in that crazy scenario, what would I do?
Right.
And it allows the audience to sort of go to places that they weren't.
Have you always been interested in the environment and directing or the filmmaking as a young child?
I think I've always been someone who's like seen things quite laterally. Like I think
this is an adorable picture, by the way.
That is cute. I think that's like a school photo. I think my top says like Santa Cruz on it. You know? I was a massive tomboy, as you can probably see. I think I was always a lateral thinker in the sense that even when I was just acting, I was always my mind was in a million places on set. You know, I was always interested in like I'd always had this game with myself that I'd predict what someone was going to say, like a director or like someone in the crew, and I was always like, you know, interested to see if I was right or wrong, to see if that's what they were going to change for the next take.
Very cool. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Have fun. We want to mention that you can see Bonnie this weekend at the Wizard World of ComicCon, and of course, for more information, all you have to do is head to our website at